What's up, everybody? It's Kelsee Briana J, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you all about the products that I skipped in 2018. I know a lot of you all think I buy everything, but this list of products proves you wrong. I really don't. Every purchase that I make is contemplated by me. I very rarely buy something randomly. I've already thought about it if I bought it. I have a pretty good system on why I buy products. I either buy makeup products if they're going to go in my makeup kit, if I'm going to use them personally on a day-to-day basis, or if I know that a lot of you all want to see my thoughts on it for my YouTube channel. Other than that, it gets skipped. If I feel like it doesn't fit in any three of those categories, it's a no for me. So I have the products that I skipped broken up into categories. So I'm going to scoot over and insert pictures and give you all explanations as to why I did not buy these things. The first and only body care item that I have on my list is the Fenty Beauty Body Lava. So this was super hot this year. It sold out. It was very popular, but I just could not bring myself to buy it. It was $59. I went into my Sephora and I was playing with it because they had different colors, but in my Sephora they only had one color. I was heavily contemplating whether or not I wanted to buy it for a review for you all, because you all like when I review Fenty products, but then I was like touching it and it was kind of like sticky, and on my complexion that color just wasn't doing anything. It definitely didn't make me look like a bronze goddess like Rihanna, and I was like, for $60, adding on tax, basically $70, I'm gonna have to say no to this because this is extremely expensive. I didn't like the texture of it and I just felt like it wasn't doing anything, but it sold out, so somebody likes it somewhere. But I was like, I'm not gonna be able to commit to that. Next, let's move into foundations. So the first and most controversial foundation launch of 2018 by far is the Tarte Shape Tape foundation. Now, this foundation has so much hoopla surrounding it that I ended up just skipping on doing the video. I actually bought both of the foundations and had planned on doing a video and addressing the controversy, but I was like, you know what? I've worked with products that don't have the best shade range before, so I didn't want to come on and just heavily scrutinize one company without holding all other companies against those same standards. And plus, most of the people who did a video on that foundation just to bash them, like if you look at the rest of their content that they've posted after that, they've not done anything to address those similar issues again. My personal opinion, it's just best to stay out of that if you are not going to keep that same energy for everybody else. The next foundation that I skipped this year was the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filt'r foundation. I contemplated buying this foundation several times. I've swatched it several times at her counter, and every time I end up walking away from it. This is one of those products that's multi-purposeful, so you can use it in a plethora of different ways. But for whatever reason, I've never been inclined to swipe my card for it. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that product, but I skipped it. The next foundation that I skipped was the Beauty Blender Bounce foundation. Again, I feel like a lot of people were bandwagoning on their thoughts on what they think about inclusiveness and what it means in terms of the makeup industry and foundation launches, and a lot of people were just doing stuff for clicks and likes and clout. So I personally decided that I did not want to try this foundation because I felt like the color range was horrible. I felt like the majority of the darker shades looked either A, too orange, or B, too red. Both of them are red flags for me, and I always am going to skip a foundation that's gonna make me look like a pumpkin. I am not trying to be bright orange. I'm not trying to look like I'm sunburned, like I have some type of skin condition. I was actually really disappointed about the shade range of this foundation because the concept of it, the packaging, genius. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before, and I thought it looked really cool. So then when I started seeing swatches and then the whole controversy, and I was like, just forget it. So I skipped it. The next category I have is concealers, but I only have one concealer that I really skipped purposefully this year, and that is the Makeup Revolution concealer. And this concealer, I don't know if it was launched this year, but I know that it got really popular this year during the Tarte Shape Tape gate. After they had that scandal with the foundation, people were boycotting the brand. As you all know, last year Tarte Shape Tape was all the rage. So this year it was basically like burn all your Tarte Shape Tape. We need a dupe. So everybody was saying that the Makeup Revolution concealer was a dupe for Tarte Shape Tape. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go try it. At the time, Ulta didn't have any testers, so I was like, where's my color? Plus I felt like a lot of people were bandwagoning on their thoughts on this concealer. I'm really not a hype beast in terms of products. Like, I have to see it for myself, and in the demonstrations that I was seeing when people were using this concealer, it didn't really look like Shape Tape, and it wasn't really miraculous. So I was like, eh. Next, one mascara that I skipped this year is the Hourglass Caution Mascara. I did not intentionally skip this mascara. What had happened was that this mascara was so popular when it launched that I really could never get my hands on it during its peak season. So by the time that it was back in stock, I was kind of over it. I wasn't as excited about it. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it later. I have a few things on my list that I'm like, I'll try it later, and that's one of the things. So I still intend on buying that mascara and trying it out, but I skipped it all year because other stuff caught my attention. Now let's move on to the cheek category, and I have a few different products that I skipped in this category. The cheek category consists of highlighters, bronzers, as well as blushes. So the first product that I skipped is the Jouer Blush Bouquet little duos that they came out with, and I really intended on buying those blush duos because I have been fiending for companies to come out with more blushes because I feel like that's just a category that's been totally ignored for a few years. New blush launches have been few, far, and in between, so I'm like, let me check these out. So I was looking at different pictures and I was trying to figure out which ones I wanted to buy. I couldn't get the swatches fast enough before the launch, and then when it launched, I was still going back and forth like, should I buy this? Should I not buy it? Which color? Do I need this color? And I'm like, would I like both of these colors? And I just couldn't decide. And so when I can't decide like that, I'm just gonna walk away. So I still haven't seen these in person. I would like to see them in person and maybe I can come to a decision. But for now, I actually forgot about them again until I made this list. So I might buy some and I might not. Next, I know a lot of you all wanted me to buy these palettes, but I didn't end up getting them because I felt like the colors weren't colors that I was gonna wear. These are the NARS Wanted 1 and Wanted 2 blush palettes. I bought one last year and loved it. I used it the entire year. I actually toured last year with Jill Scott as her key makeup artist, and I brought that with me as my sole blush palette. I used it consistently. Like, I love that thing. So then when I saw that they were launching more this year, I was looking at the colors. The lighter one is just too light. It's like pink, fairy light colors I'm not gonna wear. And then the darker one was like avant-garde, red, bright orange, just the total opposite of the light one, but also the opposite of colors that I'm really drawn to. So I skipped that one too. And I'm like, I really wanted something in the middle. Can I please get something in the middle? The last cheek products that I skipped is the Fenty Kilowatt Foil Palette. And I think a lot of you all were waiting on me to do a video on that. And I talked about it again in my buy or buy video. You know, the one where I said whether or not I'm going to buy it or say bye to it. And I told you all, I am not buying that. Those are a bunch of colors I will never use. All I'm going to do with that palette is do an initial video and then put it in a video later where I talk about I regret spending my money on that, because that palette was not cheap and it had a whole bunch of colors that I'm just not going to use. And people were like, you can use it as an eyeshadow. It'll be like a big eyeshadow. And I was like, well, I could just use an eyeshadow. Like, I already have eyeshadows like that. So why would I buy a palette intended to be used on the cheeks to use it as an eyeshadow when I could just use something that I already have in my collection? It wasn't sensible for me and I skipped on it. So next, let's talk about some eyeshadow palettes. Because as you all know, eyeshadow palettes are the most frequently released products in the beauty community at this point. There's a new eyeshadow palette launched every 3.2 seconds of every single day. That's not a real fact, but I promise I feel like it is. The first palette that I skipped is the Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream eyeshadow palette, and I decided not to get this one because I am over berries and creams and pinks and boysenberries, blueberries, strawberries, any type of berry tone. I don't want it, and so I did not buy that palette. And going forward, unless it just looks absolutely miraculous, I feel like I have allotted my berry toned palette limits within my collection. There has to be some sort of limit, and that was it. I'm not getting it. So no. The Charlotte Tilbury Stars in Your Eyes palette. A lot of you all wanted me to get this palette, but I did not want it. I did not feel attracted to that palette. Physically, there was nothing wrong with the palette. It's just, it looked boring to me. Of all the palettes that I skipped, I think that one was the most boring palette. I know, you need a boring palette in your life. Sometimes boring palettes are necessary because they're gonna be staple colors, colors that you use all the time. A palette you can use in conjunction with other wilder palettes, but I just didn't want it. Plus, I know last year a lot of people were complaining about some ingredients that were in the palette. They were like, these are cheaper ingredients, these are filler ingredients. Why would you put this in this very expensive palette? All of that went into my decision process of not purchasing the palette. So I don't regret not buying it, and I still don't want it to this day. The next palette that I skipped that kind of made me mad is the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. I was really contemplating whether or not I should buy the palette just to compare whether or not the old palette is different from the new palette, and if so, how does it differ? But something about spending $65 plus tax or shipping, it just really put me off, and it really upset me. She said that she really wasn't happy with the first palette. It wasn't formulated to perfection, but she still put it out anyway. She still collected those coins anyways. Even though that palette came out, it sold out, it was supposed to be limited edition, she brought it back out and made it permanent, and now you're taking it away again, only to remaster it and say this is the better version. I'm not going to give anybody a discount that already bought the previous version, but I still want you to take your hard-earned money and buy another one, exact same tones, and I want you to buy that one, and it's better. So, oh well, I'm still going to keep all your money though. What? Girl, what? It's not even like it was years and years later where technology is better and you have more advances. This is literally in the time frame of like maybe a year and a half to where you've done all of this with this one palette, and I was like, Huda, baby girl, you're not getting my coins again with this same palette. So I had to skip it based off of principle alone. The Jaclyn Hill Morphe Vault situation, whatever she wanted to call it. As you all know on my channel, I really don't do a lot of affordable drugstore videos. Sometimes I will sprinkle a few in here or there, but I'm really not a Morphe girl. I'm really not. I've done a few videos with Morphe palettes in the past just to appease you all, but honestly in my day-to-day life, am I picking up a Morphe palette? No, I am not. So I was only going to do this video based off of the fact that Jaclyn Hill is a fellow YouTuber. She really has a rags to riches type story. Like, the girl is balling. So I really respect her hustle. And I was going to initially get this vault for a video for YouTube just because I know a lot of people are interested in it. Child, that launch was the messiest thing I've ever seen in my life. First of all, I saw where she sent out a lot of PR packages. Whenever there's an influx of PR packages that go out, and I mean everybody and their mama gets a PR package, but I don't, and I have to wait with everybody else, that means that there's going to be a flood of videos. And so if there's a flood of videos, guess what? That means my video gets buried. That was the first strike. The second strike was that it got pulled off of the market because they said that it was pressed incorrectly. Some of the eyeshadows were formulated inconsistently, and I was like, removes eyebrows out of frustration. Whenever Jaclyn Hill comes out with something, it's always a controversy. I don't know if it's her, I don't know if it's the brands, I don't know if there's a lack of communication going on, but whatever the case may be, you can count me out of it. Now let's move on to lip products. So the first product that I skipped is the Huda Beauty Powder Bullet Metallic Lipsticks, and that's because I don't want any more metallic lipsticks. I don't want them. Metallic lipsticks are cool. They have a time and a place, and that time and place was in 2018. I don't want to see any more in 2019. Unfortunately, it looks like that's the direction that a lot of companies are going in, and it seems that the trend is still going strong. She had like a hot pink metallic lipstick, she had a hot purple metallic lipstick, and a burgundy metallic lipstick, and all three of them were not for me, so skippity skip. The Pat McGrath Blitz Trans lipsticks, those things are really pretty to look at, but the likelihood of me actually wearing them is very, very slim to none. Now, if I could see them in person and swatch them and see what they would look like what that lipstick do before I purchased it, I might buy one just because it's cool to look at, but no, I'm not, because I told myself I'm gonna stop doing that, so I skipped it. The MAC Oh Sweetie lip colors. Ma'am, sir, That was a cool concept, but the colors that you made to accompany that concept weren't really conducive to this day and age. Like, those colors were a little bit outdated. MAC, listen to me. Please stop giving us metallic glossy reds, metallic glossy like hot pinks. Nobody is going to wear a metallic grassy green color, so you really don't even have to bring those colors to production. I feel like if MAC really studied the type of colors that are on trend right now, because I know that you all have the team to do it, I know that you all have the resources to do it, I wholeheartedly believe that MAC can make a 180 and come back and be the reigning champs in the lip products categories. The next and last lipstick products that I skipped, and it kind of hurt me to skip it because I really wanted to buy it. I still kind of want to buy it for collector's purposes, but I didn't do it. It's the Milk Makeup X Wu-Tang Clan lipstick. I wanted to get one of those. Okay, but I didn't get one of those because I did not find a color that I really wanted to have. And if I liked one of the colors, the finish was not the finish that I wanted it to be. It just wasn't perfect. And those lipsticks were $55. So I'm like, do I want to get one of these just to have it? Or do I want to stop spending recklessly and stop buying products that I know I'm not going to use just to have to sit? So the last category that I have are collections that I skipped. And the first collection that I want to talk about that I skipped is the J.Lo X Inglot collection. And I skipped this because it was confusing. It was like 1,000 different products. I didn't see swatches for anything. I didn't really know what anything looks like. There were only the heavily edited photographs that companies use on their website that are no help at all. And I just didn't know where to start with it. I didn't know where to buy it. Some of the products were on Inglot's website. Some of the products were on Macy's website. But I mean, they were just spread out everywhere. It wasn't really organized and I didn't know what to get. I was just lost. So I just was like, no. And the last collection that I skipped this year is the Dose of Colors X Disney collection. And I am as big a Disney fan as anybody else. I love Disney World. I love Mickey. I love all of the princesses. But for whatever reason, I just was not compelled to buy that collection. The palette is so neutral. The lipsticks are so neutral. The glosses are just neutral. And I just don't need it. So I skipped it. Alright guys, so these are all the products that I skipped in 2018. If you like this video, let me know down in the comment section and I can do this on a yearly basis and make it an annual tradition. Let me know some products that you all skipped this year. If it didn't fit, then I must have quit. And that was my mentality and my mood for this entire year. It's all about making smarter purchases. So let me know what you all think. Let me know what you all skipped. If you have not already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to you all in my very next video. Smooches. Bye.